Der HR-Podcast Selected by hrm.de. Der Podcast-Kanal mit den besten HR-Podcast-Folgen für euch zusammengestellt.
Glück auf und herzlich willkommen zu der HR-Podcast Selected by hrm.de. Mein Name ist Alexander Petsch, ich bin der Gründer des HRM-Instituts. Heute stelle ich euch den HR Tec Talk Podcast von L&Dpro23 und Michael Witt vor. Im HR Tec Talk geht es rund um HR Technology und smarte Lösungen fürs Personalmanagement. Hier bekommst du den Einblick über spannende Trends und praktische Tech-Ansätze, die deinen HR-Alltag einfacher machen sollen. Viel Spaß beim Hören.
Herzlich willkommen zum HR Tec Talk, dem Podcast rund um Tech-Themen im HR. Michael Witt und L&Dpro23 heißen dich herzlich willkommen.
Herzlich willkommen zum HR Tech Talk, der Podcast, und heute mal wieder eine Aufnahme auf einer Messe, und zwar auf der L&Dpro in München. Tatsächlich das erste Mal, dass ich hier bin, und ein großes Dankeschön an den lieben Alexander Petsch und auch an den Florian dafür, dass sie das ermöglichen, dass wir hier aufnehmen dürfen. Und sie haben mir auch super spannende Interviewgäste beschert, und der erste Gast, das ist der liebe Kevin. Und der liebe Kevin, mit dem werde ich mich auf Englisch unterhalten. Daher werden wir jetzt ins Englische übergehen. So a very warm welcome to you, Kevin. It is really a great honor to have you here because you're working for Synthesia.io, a software or tool we earlier mentioned. Like, I think we talked about that at least last year, on the very beginning of last year in our podcast, especially also the Zielgruppengerecht podcast, not only the HR Tech Talk. And so it was more or less one of the tools we found in the internet, and we were, how you say that, we were extremely excited about what tools can do nowadays.
Yes.
And we were like more or less a little bit sad about the fact that Germany hasn't used it yet. It was like one and a half year ago. Mm-hmm. And so it was like, I was very surprised when you were suggested as an interview partner.
As was I, but it's wonderful to be here.
So let's start with the interview, and could you please shortly or briefly introduce yourself and Synthesia.io?
Sure. So my name is Kevin Alster. I work as I'm a learning strategist at Synthesia, and I head up our customer education, so our Synthesia Academy, and also help some of our enterprise customers build end-to-end solutions with the video. Synthesia is really solving that problem of how do we help everyone to communicate through video. If you look at how video is used, particularly in L&D in the workplace, it's often a select few who have the actual skill to produce video, to be on camera, to have editing tools like Premiere Pro or Final Cut Pro. And at the end of that process, it can take maybe days, weeks, even months to produce high quality video. But with the power of generative AI, what you can do now is you can take out the cameras out of the equation, you can take out the microphones, and you can use AI avatars as your actors. You could use text to voice as your voiceover with AI voices, and you can create high quality video in minutes rather than days or weeks. And so what's great is Synthesia is doing that all within a Chrome browser. So again, you don't have to download any new tools. And we like to say, if you can make a PowerPoint deck, if you're well-versed in PowerPoint or Google Slides, then you can make a professional looking video.
Yeah, nice. When we discovered Synthesia.io, the first thing we thought were like product videos, and we didn't have HR in mind when we first saw that, but it very, very fast came to our mind as well. Okay, that could be very handy in the area of HR. But when did you as a company discover that there are really like unlimited use cases where you can use that? Mm-hmm. Was that from the very beginning? Or did you focus on any industry or something? Or
yeah, so the Synthesia was founded by Victor Rapovelli and Stefan, the CEO and the COO, in 2017, and it was kind of a tech solution. It was an interesting AI solution that was looking for really a problem to solve, because the technology was so advanced. It was, how can we capture a human performance with an AI avatar? And in the past 2.5 years or so, that's when the product became, it started out being called Synthesia Studio, but that's the AI video editor that you see, the web app that allows you to actually make use of the avatars, to type in your text, to get your voiceover, to create that video. That's been around for about 2.5 years. And I think why it really took off in the L&D industry is there is a lot of need to create video. So if we look at, particularly in the L&D industry, there's two terms that we use often. That's learning and that's work. And so learning, I'm going to define that here as how we understand, process, and analyze new information, and how we work, what we actually do with that information, what we're actually making, how we're putting that information to use. And video plays a huge role in that. If you think about it, if you're making if you're working in Excel as a professional, and let's say you need to make pivot tables and you don't know how to do that, where do you go first? You go onto YouTube, you find a video on YouTube on how to make a pivot table, you go back into Excel, and then you continue doing your work. And we're cycling through this process of learning and work constantly throughout the day. You come up to your own obstacle, you search for a solution, and you get on with your day and you do your work. But video has had a huge role in the past 20 years, and that's really evolved from just doing e-learning and training to user-generated videos, screen shares, screen recordings. It's how we work through Teams and Zoom meetings. So video is becoming increasingly more and more important in how we do work, and in particular with video and instructional resources, there's just a need for more and more video, because as people we're finding more in line with our personal consumption habits, we prefer to watch and listen. We don't want to read. And so I think L&D snapped up this as an opportunity to say, hey, we could make short form announcements for internal comms. We have a video for that that's more engaging than an email. Or we could use AI avatars to bring e-learning to life. And so there's just been an explosion of different use cases, all the way from changing even just text and PDFs into video, all the way to let's remaster our AI video, or let's remaster our video in AI video, or our traditional video in AI video, because if we need to update content, rather than getting our camera and our microphone back out and going through this process all over again, we can change an AI video that looks professional, just like editing a Google Doc. And then we push out new versions of it. So there's that need for short form video that looks good, that everyone can create, and that's what we're really seeing across the past 2.5 years.
How easy is it exactly to use it?
Sure.
Did I pronounce it correctly? Right.
I understood you, so I'll just take the question as it is. Yeah. So how easy is it? I know this is an audio podcast, so I'm trying to explain how to make a video, but the best way to
put you in the show notes. We will have links, so they those who listen to the podcast, they can easily access your website or demo videos.
For sure. So the best way to describe it is that there are a couple ways to get started. You can get started with a slide deck. You can get started with, if you've written your script, or like many tools nowadays, you can use AI to generate your script. You type in your topic and your audience, you hit generate script, and it will make a script that probably will get you 60% to 80% of the way there towards a finished video. You then take that into the video editor, where your script that goes into a script box, and the interface looks a lot like Google Slides, but the script goes into a script box that becomes the voiceover. The avatars you can select. We have over 150 avatars from across the world, or I have an avatar of myself, and a lot of senior leaders at companies get themselves turned into AI avatars so that they can be the voice and face for the different videos that are being created. Then you can upload or add stock footage to really give it a polished feel. And then, like many other things, we have a way to make animation very simple, where if you've ever made video now, then you know it's like going into Premiere Pro. You have your visual track and your audio track, and you're trying to test and check and see, did this line up correctly, or did things show up at the right time? Well, we're taking that and we're saying, we can make this easier for you. We're actually tying animations and video to the script itself, so that you're timing it based on the word rather than listening to an audio track and trying to match it up. So there's a lot of ways that we really are rethinking the video creation process so that it's moving away from timelines and more into what is a language that everyone is familiar with and how can we use that to help them make video.
Oh, that's very smart to connect it to the audio. That makes it much easier. I didn't know that you can build your own avatars, or you ask for your own avatars?
Yeah, so what that process looks like is to get my avatar made, we have studios in London. We also have a shooting studio in New York, but you can also achieve this with...
I would love to travel to New York to get my own avatar.
Absolutely. So the process in a nutshell is you take a 4K camera and green screen you sit behind a green screen and you read out a script which includes a video consent, which is, hey, I understand I am being turned into an AI avatar. And then you read a script where it captures your delivery, the tone of your voice, the emotions that you have, maybe, as much detail about your likeness so that when it gets put through our AI pipeline and you get an AI avatar, it looks and sounds like you. And maybe in the show notes I can include a video where you can see I'm presenting how I made a video of me speaking in German. I don't speak German, but again, with the power of AI, I can click translate and I now have content that I'm producing in German or up to 150 different other languages. But yeah, it's very interesting to see yourself and you know that you didn't deliver a performance. And I'm not going to say it's going to win an Oscar or Hollywood Awards tomorrow, but it's really solid. I think the best use case at the moment is delivering instructional and informational content.
Okay, but so no more bad hair days.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, even today, I traveled and I got up and I have to be on video later today, and some days you just can't muster that 130% delivery that gets sucked up by the camera, and a lot of folks are just they don't have the skill, or they're not used to producing video themselves, and so having an AI avatar just produce that video in one take is perfect.
So, and did I get that right? You can easily translate all your videos. So, like, I could also speak Chinese.
Yes, you could speak. We have Mandarin, we have Cantonese, and that's done through. There's a select number of languages that have one-click translation, which means you just go to your video, we hit translate, and then for the other languages that are not yet included in the AI voice dataset, you can have a translated script. You can drop that script directly into Synthesia. It's automatically detects what language that's in, and then it generates the video in that language.
Nice. That sounds tech-wise incredible complicated.
Tech-wise, and that's why I work on the client solutions and customer education side. That we have absolute wizards. So I would say roughly, last time I checked, I think it's around 30% of our company is dedicated just towards research and development. So it's not just about releasing a product. We're also very much a research company where the avatar, it's really mapping out what the human face is so complex alone in terms of capturing that realism of a human performance and human delivery. Everything from eye crinkles to shadows on the face. These are all things where we need people who are continuously researching and discovering how to, using computer vision and other AI techniques, how we can actually replicate that human performance to the tiniest degree, because I think very early on, one of the very common criticism of AI video and AI voices is I can tell that this isn't a real person, or there's always mention of the uncanny valley effect. But the performance is getting to the point now where if you don't tell somebody that it's an AI avatar, then they won't ever ask. And so when I'm working with a new client, they're like, how can I introduce AI avatar? How should I introduce AI avatars into the courses that we're creating or internal comms announcements? I tell them, just make the video, send it out, and see what response you get. Because I think we're in a very interesting time in the L&D space and in the learning tech space where it's AI everything. Every conference that I've been to, HR Technologies, DevLearn, Learning Tech London, all over Europe, all over the UK and the US, the talk in the L&D industry is all about AI. Whether these tools are AI or not, that's also up for debate. But I think we're in a very critical time of what the promise of these tools actually is. And so as the tech gets better, I think this conversation will just turn more to how do we actually turn this into something we can work with, as opposed to just thinking about the novelty of, oh, this is a fake human or something like that. Because it's a communication tool. I think that L&D uses video a lot, again, for that relationship between how we learn and work, but really this is a new, maybe if you want to think about this as short-form video communication, it's something new for us to all explore in how we do work every day.
Yeah. That's very interesting what you said, because that's, I think, something customers might often come up with, but it's not a real person. How do I explain that? Yeah. We recently did some, actually, we do research or surveys on a regular basis, and we recently asked German potential candidates whether they would prefer an AI avatar or something within the recruitment process or a human. And they said time beats human.
I'm sorry, what?
Time beats human. If a human is available,
yes,
like in the next 5 minutes or something,
yes,
then I will take the human. But if the human is available, okay, next week or the week after, no, I don't want to wait that long. I want someone to speak to now.
Yes.
So I will take the AI voice or avatar or the AI process, because time beats human. So my time is more valuable than the need to talk to a human.
Yes.
And that sounds like similar in that case, like more efficiency beats man.
Yes.
Or human.
Yes. So this is, I think, where I think the conversation gets really interesting, because whenever we mention AI tools and how they help humans out, it's either under time, effort, and we're just time, effort, personalization, and scale. And so what you're talking about is scale.
Sorry. What you couldn't see, but I just fell off the stool. You were share.
I understand that sometimes the information that I share can really blow people's minds.
Yeah,
but that
absolutely.
is the first time that I've had someone fall out of their chair. Fair enough. But are you okay?
Yeah, I'm
okay. Thank goodness. So to bring it back, this idea, I think this is an audio warning to those that are listening. If you hear this next bit of information, it might make sure you're firmly seated. But we're thinking about how we scale humans. And this is something that I, as somebody who has an AI avatar that I use for my work, it's about, this idea of what would you use your human self for and what would you use your digital self for, your AI self for. And that idea that time beats human, we're at the stage with the technology where with large language models, we can have human conversations. They might be lacking a bit of the context that you need, but if you have something very specific that you need and you want to speak to a large language model, you can have that conversation, get the answers you need. Where AI video comes in is, just like I prefer to speak to you in person, we prefer to speak to other people. So you can skin that over with a human face. So you have now you'll have a human face and a human voice, and you're able to scale yourself in a way that you weren't able to before using AI video. So I used a case study that I have for you is, one of our clients is a German consulting company called Grunwald Consulting. Mm-hmm. They do a lot of recruitment, and one of the common problems in recruitment is, it's very limited in how you could reach out to candidates at this moment. Cold calls, cold emails, social media. And so what these gentlemen were looking for was a way to stand out to candidates. And so what they did is they used Synthesia to create AI avatars of themselves. And rather than send out cold emails, they send out AI videos. It's their AI avatar speaking.
Oh, nice.
And it's addressing that candidate, so it's personalized. So if that person is Jackie, they get a video that says, "Hey Jackie, we'd love to tell you about this position that's this role that's open." And it's in the language of that candidate's choice. And so you can imagine it's already very exciting to get a video, much less with the recruiter's face on it, much less in the language that you put down in your HR profile. This is, the regions that I'm looking for. This is my preferred language. And what they saw is that so two things. One, they saw a 200% increase in the numbers of responses from candidates after sending out these AI-generated videos. And on their side, they're able to generate upward, and as far as I know, it's just a couple of folks, but they're able to generate 125 videos per week, and that's personalized to each candidate. And so, again, that's the scale of communication and what they're able to do with their digital selves versus just their human selves and trying to send out emails and talk on the phone. The impact is starting to prove itself, if not just from an engagement perspective.
That's incredible. Yeah, it's like an incredible efficiency boost to all of, not all L&D, just like you mentioned, also recruitment, but also, for example, onboarding, and everywhere we can imagine video, you come in place, right?
Yes, exactly. So one of the big things that big trends that I see coming off of the pandemic is that during the pandemic we were doing a lot of virtual instructor-led training, a lot of webinars, and now as we've shifted back into the workplace, into the office, there's a need to say, okay, rather than getting 30 people in a workshop room on site or flying people out, how do we scale this? Oh, we want to create asynchronous courses, or we want to turn these into courses because it's less time away from desks, less money for travel, etc. But when you create e-learning courses, and this is one of the reasons that I got into e-learning or in producing video, is that a lot of the video that's created looks like it's created in the 90s, or it's just looks very amateur. And so a lot of folks who are using Synthesia want to have that high quality video experience. And especially during onboarding, you want something that's going to excite people from day one. Or you want to have one of my favorite use cases is if you have an AI avatar that's your facilitator that says, hey, I'm Jackie, I'm going to be your Robindro's personal assistant for your first week. And then Jackie's going to pop up, in the form of emails or in the LXP to say, Robindro, hey, you're in day 3. This is what candidates typically struggle with. Here's your schedule for the next 2 hours. And it's just more engaging than having an email. We just know that employees prefer, I think the latest stat that I read comes from a Forrester research report, which is 75% of employees prefer to have video to learn new information rather than text alone. Yeah. And it matches our consumption habits. When you leave the workplace, you watch video everywhere, and we need to bring that back into the workplace as well.
Absolutely. I want to go back to something you mentioned earlier. It's more kind of perhaps philosophy question. Because you said at some point in the future we might decide when to be ourselves or to send our virtual avatar.
Yes.
So is that something you see in the future? Everyone will have her own avatar?
That would be, I think, so I'm a futurist. I understand what I say might surprise a few folks, but already you have, so if you're familiar with the concept of a digital twin, it's, anytime you use any sort of visualization for real-time data. So technically Google Maps is a digital twin because it's showing off geographic location data in real time. But there's this, I think as we have AI avatars, there's the idea of a virtual digital twin. So let me bring this back to the L&D context. We all have subject matter experts who have a lot of institutional knowledge, they have a lot of expertise, and we want to spread that expertise. How do we do that now? Well, if you're going to use video, you're going to capture that person on camera, hopefully delivering something that's instructional and useful to all employees. I think the problem that I've seen is, and I've had to coach up subject matter experts alone, is for some odd reason, people who are really technically good at their job, it doesn't correlate with them necessarily being good on camera. So you really had to do a lot of work to help them produce content that can be useful. Well, if that person were an AI avatar and you take their work and you plug that into a large language model, you can then have a conversation with that person and their work and get the answers to the questions that you need without actually having to speak to that person. So another case study that I have for you, there's an author, Barry Knudsen. He's a British author who's written a lot about how to do better public speaking. He's written books about it, lots of articles, and he's tired of giving talks, and he saw working with AI. He had himself turned into an AI avatar. He uses a platform called Storyfile where he's able to generate scripts. He's able to plug all of his work into a large language model and generate all the possible questions and responses that he might get about how to be better at public speaking. And what you can do with this app Storyfile is that you can upload all the videos that you would like, and you can actually you can use your voice or you can type in text to ask questions to it. So I'm able to talk to Barry Knudsen's expertise, and it's his likeness and it's him speaking. It's his AI avatar, and he's able to answer my questions without me ever having to talk to him. So yes, I do think that there's a future where those of us who choose to will have AI avatars and representatives that represent our own knowledge and expertise. Yeah. I don't know quite to what extent that goes, but especially in the L&D space, there is a need to capture knowledge, not only capture knowledge, but have it in an experience where you can ask in a conversational way and solutions for the obstacles you're facing at work.
Nice. We're nearly hitting the 30 minutes mark, so let's round up with, you told me you have also a podcast?
Yes.
Yeah, so what's the name of the podcast? So we can, if some of you want to learn more about the TCIO and all the topics, you can hear. What's the name of your podcast?
Sure. So the podcast is Video Learning Lab, and that's really focused on L&D professionals and kind of our relationship with technology, as well as the role of video in that. And so I think that's a bit more capturing the conversation that's happening of today. Yeah. But if you want to learn more about Synthesia, and I suggest you go to synthesia.io. You could also check out the Academy, where we're producing a lot of customer education content. But also feel free to get in touch. You can reach out and find me on LinkedIn as well.
Yeah, very good. We will put all the links and also your LinkedIn profile in the show notes. So thank you very much for the conversation. I learned a lot about Synthesia, and I'm actually keen to hear more about you, and we'll see you at your booth.
Sounds good. It was wonderful to be here, Rabindra. Thank you so much for having me on.
Bye.
Bye.